Bellator is back this Friday night from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. In the main event, we've got a 5-round fight between Gracie and Yamauchi. We've got 13 fights in this card, but the fight that I might be most excited for, it was a fight that was just announced. Vanderford taking on Jeffery on short notice. Jeffery is coming in, of course, the former CFFC world champion, came into Bellator, won his last fight by TKO in the second round. Now he's taking on the former title challenger in Bellator in Vanderford. So that's in the card. We've got 13 fights. And folks, if you haven't yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more Bellator here on the channel. And also, go make sure you go check out our UFC San Diego predictions with Marlon Chito Vera and Dominic Cruz in the main event. And later today, we will have our PFL playoff predictions in the main event. The Red King takes on Magomed Umlatov, so don't miss that video coming out later as well. So, I mean, this card's weird. It's not one of Bellator's better cards, for being honest with ourselves. It's not one that, they're having the Mohegan Sun, or they're taking, to Los Angeles or Long Beach. That's where Pitbull is going to be fighting Adam Borks later, or even, it's not an international card, right? It's just a card in South Dakota. So, they have these prelims. There's 6 of them before we get into the really named fighters, and that's why I'm just gonna go over these really quick. So the first fight, we've got Brett Bai, who is from Brookings, or of course South Dakota State. He wrestled over there, and he's gonna be taking on his opponent in this one. It's gonna be Ya the second. I'll be honest with you, I don't know who this is. I kind of know who Brett Bai is, but I know Bai's a wrestler. He's had only one amateur fight. He won by unanimous decision. For Ya, he went 4-0 as an amateur. Looked pretty good in doing so. Had some really good, striking in his fights. So, I think this one's pretty simple. It's either can Bai take him down, or can Ya keep it standing and try to knock him out. It's at a catch weight of 175. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to go Ya by first round knockout. I'm not confident at all in that pick. Next up, we've got Mitchell McKee taking on Tony Ortega. So McKee is 2-0. This is going to be his Bellator debut. Coming off back-to-back wins, though, in LFA. Winning the first one by TKO and the second one by TKO as well. His last one was a first-round stoppage. He'll be fighting Tony Ortega in this, and Ortega, he's on a 2-fight winning streak, but before those 2 fights, he did lose 3 out of his last 4. I think this is an opportunity for McKee to go in there and pick up a victory. Ortega has shown in the past, though, he doesn't have a great ground game on the feet. He isn't horrible. I think you're going to see these 2 guys go slug it out, but I'm going to go with Mitchell McKee to pick up the W by second round TKO. After that, we have got Bailey taking on Mark Courier. Bailey is 2-0, of course, coming off the victory at Bellator 265, winning by ground and pound in the first round. Before that, he won in 20 seconds over an LFA over James Munoz. He'll be taking on Mark Courier in this one. Courier's 1-1, making his Bellator debut. He's fought before in a regional promotion in Iowa and North Iowa fights, winning his last fight over Ryan Fournier by first round knockout. I think Bailey's a pretty big favorite in this one, and I will go with him. It's a heavyweight fight, so I will anticipate someone getting knocked out. I'm going to go with Bailey to win this one, though, by first-round knockout. Next up, we've got Isaiah Hokett versus Nick Perez. Hokett this is going to be his 3rd fight now in Bellator. He debuted with the promotion at Bellator 260. When he got caught in 10 seconds, though, Corey Samuels went in there and knocked him out. It was a pretty big upset pick right there, because Hokett was a minus 715 favorite going into that one. But after that, he bounced back to picked up a victory in his last fight earlier in 2022 by rear naked choke, finishing the first round. They didn't think Hokett was going to lose his first fight. His nickname's the Central Valley Gangster. Of course, wrestled at Fresno State. They know what they're doing. They're giving him a guy here, Nick Perez, who fought a lot in Tough Enough. He went 4-1 over there, though. He has an okay ground game, but his stand-up isn't great. He's going to get out-wrestled by Isaiah Hokett in this fight. Again, Bellator knows what they're doing. I think Hokett's going to be able to bring him to the ground. I think he'll be able to submit him. I'm not impressed with the ground game of Perez in his amateur fights. Hokett should be able to win. After that, we've got the professional MMA debut of Patrick Downey. He's 30 years old, really good wrestler. He's done a bunch of grappling matches, but he's going to be taking on Jeff Soder in this one. Soder went 2-2 as an amateur. He's had some bare knuckle fights. He's fought before with BKFC. Patrick Downey is supposed to win this fight. He's a pretty huge favorite going into this one. Former NCAA wrestler, of course, wrestled at Iowa State. He's wrestled at the U.S. National Championships before, and he's done a bunch of, submission grappling stuff as well. He wrestled Bo Nickel at the 2020 U.S. Olympic Team Trials. Now he lost that wrestling match against Bo Nickel, who's going to be on the Contender Series tomorrow. But, I think Pat Downey's going to come in here. I think he should be able to out-wrestle Jeff Soder, and I think he'll be able to finish him with ground strikes in the first round. And then finally, we have got Sullivan Cauley taking on Tyson Jeffries. Now, Sullivan Cauley is probably the most well-known name out of all these guys, because he just beat Big Tuna in his last fight, of course, being Ben Parrish. He knocked out Ben Parrish in the first round with ground and pound. He dominated that fight, and he was a favorite going into that one. Looked pretty good in doing so. He's 3-0 so far in Bellator. He's got really good, crisp striking. The guy he's fighting in Tyson Jeffries here is 14-10. He's basically a 50-50 fighter. He's fought in Bellator before. His last fight in the promotion was back in 2013 at Bellator 101. The main event of that was Joe Warren versus Nick Kirk. But yeah, this is a fight that Sullivan Coley is going to win, and I don't think he's going to have too many problems in doing so. I think he's going to come in there, pick up the quick first-round knockout, and move on, because again, Tyson Jeffery is the guy who has not fought since a fight in King of the Cage over 4 years ago. He has not won a fight since 2015. He hasn't won a fight in 7 years. Sullivan Coley is going to come in here. He's going to knock him out in the first round. I don't know why this fight's happening again. I mean, you got Deanna Bennett versus Justine Kish. That was Deanna Bennett's last fight. Justine Kish, okay, she beat Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, which was not supposed to happen. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane is one of the last fights in this entire card, and here is Justine Kish on the undercard. But why is this happening? They just fought 6 months ago. Deanna Bennett won by decision. Kish goes in and goes after that. 2 months later, takes a short notice fight against Ilima-Lei Macfarlane. She beats her, surprisingly. And here we are. Why is this happening? I don't know. What changes in this fight that just happened 6 months ago? Like, sure, Justine Kish looked good in the Ilima-Lei Macfarlane fight, but Ilima-Lei Macfarlane looked like she had a lot of ring rust in that fight. And I mean, I'll talk about Ilima-Lei Macfarlane later here, but I don't know what changes here. Like, Justine Kish, okay, she beat Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, but other than that, I mean, she was on a tough road. I mean, what? She had lost 5 out of her last 6 before that. Her only win being Lucia Puzelova, who we're going to see in a couple weeks in Salt Lake City for the UFC. I think Deanna Bennett's better than Justine Kish. She showed it just 6 months ago. She was an underdog in their first fight. She won't be an underdog this time. She's a minus 245 favorite. She's coming off of back-to-back wins over Laura and Justine Kish. Yeah, I'm taking Deanna Bennett. I don't see why they're doing this rematch. I don't know. Deanna Bennett's going to win again. I got her by decision. So Josh Hill is back. He was supposed to be in one of those wild card fights for the Grand Prix. He was supposed to take on Enrique Barzola. Hill couldn't make that date, though, and so Barzola fight Milikov instead. But Josh Hill's back. The Gentleman is taking on Marcus Breno in this fight. This will be Breno's debut in Bellator. He's coming off a win at LFA 111, winning by knockout in the first round. I think that's really all Breno's got in this fight. He's going to have to catch Josh Hill in this fight to win, because Josh Hill is so fundamentally sound. He's just good all around. I know he dropped that fight to Raufin Stotts in 2021, but other than that, I mean, Josh Hill has fought pretty well in Bellator. He's 3-1 in the promotion. He can get it on the feet. He can get it on the ground. Now, does he have the most punching power? No, he doesn't, but still, he's a very good, technically sound striker. He's solid on the ground as well. I mean, the only way Marcus Breno wins this fight is if he does land early on Josh Hill and he does put him out. I don't anticipate that happening. I mean, I think Josh Hill, again, is just all around better. I know Breno's a lot younger. He's 11 years younger than Josh Hill, him being 24 and Hill being 35. But again, I just think it's a little too much for Breno at this point of his career, coming off his first win over in LFA. Getting shot in Bellator, but he's coming up against one of the better, really, bantamweights that Bellator does have in Josh Hill. I think Hill should be able to win. He'll be able to keep his distance. He should be able to strike at range. If he has to take it to the ground, he should be able to do so as well. I like Josh Hill in every single way this fight does go. Give me Hill by decision. The only advantage he does not have in this fight, I think, is in the power side of things, but still, I'm going to go with Hill pretty simply to win this one by decision. Love this fight. Here we go. We've got Austin Vanderford taking on Aaron Jeffery. It should be kicking off the main card, and it's a good one. I mean, I wasn't really too excited for Vanderford versus Anthony Adams, because Anthony Adams is a guy who, I mean, he won one fight in Bellator. He was coming off the loss in the contender to Impa Kasanganay. I just wasn't too excited for that fight, Vanderford and Adams. I'm excited for Vanderford, though, and Aaron Jeffery, because it is by far the biggest test of Aaron Jeffery's career. I know he's taking on Kyle Borjaio, but I think Vanderford probably beat Kyle Borjaio, even though Borjaio is in the UFC. Let's be honest, really boring. But, you know, Aaron Jeffery's fought some good guys outside of Bellator. I mean, you look at his record in LFA when he fought in CFFC. He's got a win over Andre Petrosky, who's undefeated now in the UFC. He had a fight against Sean Brady back in 2015. He fought Brendan Allen on the Contender Series. Aaron Jeffery's a really good fighter. Now he's 29 years old, really coming into his own as a fighter. Picked up a huge win over Fabio Aguilar in his last fight, winning that one by second round TKO. And less than 2 months later, he's back and he's taking on Austin Vanderford, because you knew as soon as he went and he won the middleweight championship over in CFFC, because he lost it after he went to the contender, right? So he beats Colin Huckbody. He wins by decision, loses to Kyle Borjaio. He comes back and he retains the championship, against Rex Harris. I think I said that he dropped it. Of course, he retains it after, he kept the championship because he didn't get the UFC contract after losing to Kyle Borjaio. He comes back, he beats Rex Harris, he beats him by decision. He finally gets the shot to Bellator, because you knew eventually, right? Aaron Jeffery was going to get signed by one of these major promotions. If it was not the UFC, if he couldn't win the contender, it was going to be either Bellator or PFL. Probably one of those two, but he was going to get signed eventually. He finally does, and now here you have it. He's taking on Austin Vanderford. For Jeffery in this fight, he's got to keep this fight standing. I mean, he's got to do what Gegard Mousasi did to Austin Vanderford, and that's stuff the takedowns and make Vanderford strike with you, because if Aaron Jeffery can make Austin Vanderford strike with him throughout this entire fight, he can win. Do not get me wrong. He can beat Austin Vanderford, but if Vanderford, does what he did to Fabian Edwards, and he takes him down, and he controls him, and he does a lot of damage with those elbows from the top, and really just damages his opponents, If he does that to Aaron Jeffery, it's going to be a long night for Jeffery. He'll likely lose a decision. So I'm picking Austin Vanderford by decision, but I can definitely see a world where Jeffery is able to connect and Jeffery is able to hurt him. And again, if Vanderford can't take him down, I think this is just trouble all day for Aaron Jeffery. If Vanderford can't take him down, it's trouble for Vanderford, and it's all day for Aaron Jeffery. And he can just, again, use his distance and keep, again, just applying the pressure onto Vanderford. Again, if Vanderford can't take him down, he does not have a way of winning this fight. But if he does take down Jeffery, then I think it's going to be tough for Jeffery to work back up. I think it'll be tough for Jeffery. Again, every time he gets started with his hands, I think it'll just be Vanderford taking him back down and rinse and repeat. So I'm going with that scenario, I think. I think Jeffery will have limited success in the feet, but I think it goes to show you how good Gegard Mousasi is. And I know he just lost to Johnny Eblin, but Vanderford is not bad. He truly is not bad in there. I wore the odds in him fighting Gegard. He's only like a plus 200 underdog, which, considering the other Gegard fights that he's had in the past, I believe Eblin was a bigger underdog than Vanderford was. So that's just saying something. Gegard's good, but a lot of people had a lot of, some trust, I guess, in Vanderford in that fight. Of course, he didn't win, but I think it just goes to show that he's better than Aaron Jeffery. He should be able to take him down. And as long as Jeffery, isn't stuffing every single takedown Vanderford's shooting, Austin Vanderford should be able to win. I got him by decision. All right, so we've got a heavyweight fight between Said Sowma and Gokhan Saricam. Should be a good one here. Two guys who are pretty evenly well matched. For Said Sowma, of course, coming off that fight where he just did lose to Davian Franklin, losing it by split decision at Bellator 274. And before that for Sowma, he did pick up the win some way, somehow, over Vitaly Minkov. He won that fight. It's weird because Vitaly, breaks his finger and he kind of tells the referee, oh, wait, hold on a second. But the referee's like, okay, well, can't stop the fight. So for stopping the fight, the fight's over. Minkov really didn't get that, and Sowma wins the fight by TKO in the third. Maybe if, Minkov knew that he just had to go 2 more minutes, he probably would have just lasted it out. I don't know. But yeah, Sowma has won. He beat Minkov. He lost to Franklin. Before that, he beat Ronnie Marks. He lost to Tyrell Fortune. That's been the Bellator run so far for him. He had that fight against Steve Mowry back in 2018. I believe it was his professional debut at Titan FC. He lost to Mowry, and so did Saricam as well. Saricam lost to Mowry in 2019, where Mowry caught him with Kimura. But since then, for Saricam, he has won 3 straight fights in Bellator. Given it hasn't really been against the greatest competition, it's been in fights that Saricam has pretty much been big favorites in all of them. And now he's taken on Said Sowma. He fought Baby Fedor in his last fight, but you knew Saricam was probably going to go in and win that fight. I think it's a good one, man, because Saricam and Sowma both have a lot of power and should be a good fight here. Saricam looked good in this fight when he beat Baby Fedor back in Russia, and for Sowma, he has fought more recently, obviously, because he beat Minkov later on that card and then lost to Davian Franklin in that close fight by split decision. Ever so slightly, I'm going to take Gokhan and Saricam here. I'm not too confident here because the heavyweight fight could go either way. I'll take the Turkish fighter here, though, and Saricam. I got him to win this one by decision. Okay, so Lee-Malay Macfarlane's back, and it's never good when a fighter starts talking about retirement, and that's what Lee-Malay Macfarlane is talking about. Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really okay. She lost her last fight, and was Lee-Malay Macfarlane the best champion Bellator's ever had? No. She was fighting in a 125 weight class that Bellator is just establishing, and she didn't fight the greatest fighters Bellator has now at 125. Riley drew out Velasquez. Of course, Lee-Malay ran in to Velasquez. She lost by decision. She hadn't fought Liz Carmouche. Obviously, those two are teammates, so I doubt they're ever going to fight. But, Lee-Malay's title run, it's not bad, right? She beats Emily Dakota for the belt. Then she defends against Alejandra Lara. She beats Laterno. She beats Ortega. And then she beats Kate Jackson. They're not bad fighters, but they're all fights that she was a heavy favorite. And then when she came to the Velasquez fight, she was an underdog. Velasquez won. And, of course, Lee-Malay has not won since, dropping her next fight to Justine Kish in a fight that she was supposed to win. She was a huge favorite going to the Justine Kish fight, and she lost. Now, do I think she'll beat Bruna Ellen? I think she probably will. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if she drops it. Bruna Ellen isn't horrible on the feet. She's got some power. She's got some really nice takedowns, too. She's, a pretty strong fighter, too, especially at 125. I think it'll be a tough fight for Lee-Malay. I think Macfarlane will win. I'm not going to pick against her here for the 3rd straight fight in a row. But again, it's never good when a fighter starts talking about retirement. And Lee-Malay Macfarlane is now talking about retirement after this Bellator contract is up. I think she'll still win, though. I don't think she'll drop 3 in a row. I think Macfarlane has some advantages on the ground. Of course, she's got the submissions. Will it go down there? I think it will at some point. I think if Lee-Malay is able to take down Bruna Ellen, I think she'll find a lot of success. I'm going to go with the Eliminator to win this one by decision. So in the co-main event, we have got Valentin Moldavsky taking on Steve Mowry. And for Moldavsky, coming off that championship loss to Ryan Bader, he was the interim Bellator heavyweight champion after he went in. He beat Tim Johnson, and he got the shot against Bader, a fight that he was a 2-1 favorite in, and he lost it by decision. Now, Ryan Bader is the heavyweight champion still here at Bellator. I would anticipate him versus Fedor in an announcement for that pretty soon. I think that's where they're going. I'd hope. I don't know. But now we've got Moldavsky versus Steve Mowry, and Mowry's a guy who is undefeated in Bellator. He is undefeated as a professional, and he's looked really good. I mean, this guy just keeps on getting finishes. He's got a 100% finish rate so far, 6 submissions, 4 TKOs. The guy's got huge power. He's got really good stuff on the ground too. Once he does get to the ground, he's got really nice ground pound, and he's got really good submissions as well. A lot of arm submissions in the Kimuras and the Americanas that he does throw in there. This guy's dangerous, man. I mean, you've seen his victories. He's got big wins over guys like Saricam. He's got a win over, Rakeem Cleveland in his last one where he subbed him in the first round by Kimura. Given is Cleveland the best guy out there? No, but he's a former PFL guy who has won some fights over in the Professional Fighters League as well. But I really do like Mowry in this fight, man. I like him at plus money in this one right now. At least right now he is plus 170 here against Moldavsky. Moldavsky coming off that 5-round decision loss to Ryan Bader where he did eat some damage. Now he did win rounds in that fight against Bader, but Bader came back and he won the fight. Honestly, I'm not too impressed with Moldavsky's run to this point to the championship, because look at the guys he has beat. I mean, yeah, the Linton Vassell win looks good, right? I mean, because Vassell's still winning, but he beat like Roy Nelson to get his shot at the interim championship. And Roy Nelson in 2020 is far from a great fighter. I mean, Roy Nelson was on a huge losing streak. He didn't win a fight in Bellator except for his first one, right? So I'm going to take Mowry to beat Moldavsky here. I don't think this one's going to be going on the ground. I don't know if Mowry can get Moldavsky down, but I think on the feet, man, there's a power advantage for Steve Mowry, obviously. Moldavsky's not known for getting finishes. I think Mowry's able to go in there. I think he's able to stun him early. I think he's going to put him down and put him out. So I'm going to go with Steve Mowry to beat Valentin Moldavsky. I think he's going to catch him in the first round by knockout and probably putting himself as next in line for the championship fight after hopefully we get Ryan Bader and Fedor Emelianenko. So here you go, main event time. Neiman Gracie taking on Goichi Yamauchi, and it's Gracie against another grappler. But unlike Gracie's last couple losses, where it's been against wrestlers like Logan Storley and Jason Jackson, you got a jiu-jitsu specialist here in Goichi Yamauchi. I mean, hell, Neiman Gracie's a jiu-jitsu specialist as well, but both these guys really well sounded on the ground, and you're going to get some tremendous I think you're going to get some great scrambles on the ground and get a lot of great transitions on the ground. This is going to be a very competitive fight on the feet. Both these guys are going to go to war down there. I think it's going to make for a really fun one. Of course, Yamauchi used to fight at 155. Now, of course, he's up at 170. Won his last fight over Levon Shokely, where he subbed him in the first round at 170. He fought at catchweight at 160 when he fought Chris Gonzalez. But before, of course, he's fighting at lightweight when he fought Michael Chandler and, Bubba Jenkins and guys like that earlier on. Actually, Bubba Jenkins, that fight was at 45. So he's, this is a guy who started at 45 in Bellator, now making his way all the way up to 170 pounds. But Neiman Gracie, hasn't looked too great in his last couple of fights. He got the main event spot against Logan Storley where he lost a decision. He beat Mark Levinger. It's what he's supposed to do against Levinger. He lost to the ass-kicking machine in Jason Jackson by unanimous decision. He beat John Fitch, which was probably his best win to date. But that was the end of Fitch's career. I mean, he retired right afterwards. That's what Neiman Gracie was supposed to do to an older John Fitch who was at the tail end of his career. But now you got him versus Goichi Yamauchi. Pure grappling, Neiman Gracie's better, but can Yamauchi catch him and can Yamauchi just out-scramble him throughout this fight? I think there's a chance that's going to happen because, again, Gracie hasn't really impressed me too much as of late, and Yamauchi I just think is going to be quicker. Now, on the feet, will we see this fight in the stand-up game? We might. It will be an interesting stylistic fight on the feet because both these guys are not known for their striking, but I think, unlike some of these fights that you do get with two wrestlers where, you always go to the example of Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman. Both of their fights have been stand-up fights for the most part because both the wrestling out of the other guy, cancels out. But when you get a fight, or hell, even I'll go to this point. When you get two guys who are jiu-jitsu fighters and are really good all-around grappling games and aren't just known for their wrestling, I think an example of this is Claudio Puelles versus Jordan Levitt. I know it's a weird, comparison to make, but I think it works for this fight. You got two guys who are jiu-jitsu guys in Levitt and Puelles, and we figured out who the better grappler was in that fight. But you saw some really nice, transitions in that fight. You saw a lot of good scrambles on the ground. Even Jordan Levitt's fighting against Trey Ogden, right? Two guys who are good on the ground and known for their submissions. I think you're going to see something similar to that in this fight with Neiman Gracie and Goichi Yamauchi, and I don't think it's going to be a case of one side is just either, Gracie or Yamauchi dominating. I think it's just going to be eventually one guy's going to catch the other, or it's just going to be a back and forth fight on the ground, and guys are going to, both these guys are going to be struggling to win rounds, and it's going to be a fun fight down there. I'm going to say it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be a competitive fight down there. I think, it's going to be a close fight. I think you're going to have a fight where it's going to be 48-47 here. Winner barely wins it. And I'm going with Goichi Yamauchi here. I think Yamauchi is all around better than Neiman Gracie. Now, again, Neiman Gracie's jiu-jitsu might be better, but all around grappling game, I'm going to take Goichi Yamauchi in terms of, the wrestling and working in the clinch and bringing the fight down to the ground. I will favor Goichi Yamauchi ever so slightly. I think what Yamauchi is able to do against Neiman Gracie will be just enough to win this fight by decision. And I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to win this 5-round main event. So I'm going to go with Gochi Yamauchi to win here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the main event, and he'll get it done over Neiman Gracie by unanimous decision. So folks, thank you all for watching our Bellator 284 predictions here on the channel. We'll be back later today with some more MMA with the PFL 8 playoff cards. So be on the lookout for that. Again, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Again, thanks for watching, and Mamba forever.